The day kicked off with Yalla going up against Absolute and managing to go toe-to-toe with them in a relatively even match. Despite having the two stand-ins, the boys from the Middle East managed to clinch the first two rounds on Mirage, but couldn't keep up the tempo as the SG started to kick in. The Japanese proceeded to assert their dominance as they decimated the CT side until the 11th round, where Yalla showed signs of life in the half. They managed to keep a somewhat steady hand as they secured 6th round for themselves on the CT side. As soon as the switch happened though, Yalla were relentless. They picked up 5 rounds straight after losing the pistol round, only dropping 1 more in the process. Despite some heroic efforts by Absolute, the match ended 16-11 in Yalla's favor. Meanwhile, Tyloo vs Genuine Gaming had a showdown on Dust 2. Genuine Gaming looked great in the opening rounds as they managed to start off by winning the first 3 rounds. But as soon as the rifles came in for Tyloo, the tables turned. They managed to decimate Genuine for the next 3 rounds. Genuine did manage to clinch 1 round in between, but Tyloo pounded Genuine Gaming for the next 5 rounds. Eventually, Genuine managed to get a read on Tyloo, allowing them to win the last set of rounds for a total of 7 on the T side. But when Tyloo's turn came, they exploited long and short A, often finding chink in GG's armor and breaking their backs as they won the series without dropping a single round. A disheartening finish for the Aussies, but they managed to give Tyloo a run for their money in the first half despite the fact that they were playing with their coach as a stand-in. The next match in the group was MVP PK vs Lays. The Koreans spared no quarter on Inferno as they played with impeccable coordination on the CT side, winning the first 2 rounds. Lays did not become lax though, as they responded in kind by winning the next 2 rounds. They could only do so much as MVP put a systematic stop to their antics in the 8th round, not sparing a quarter since and dominating the CT side with 10 rounds, only giving up the last round to the boys from Singapore. A very strong performance by Lays would be needed to bounce back after such a finish, and things looked kinda sunny for them as they won the pistol round on switching sides. But the Koreans weren't phased and instead put Lays in a tough spot, securing 13 rounds when Lays had 6. They won a round in between by the skin of their teeth but were unable to make a comeback and succumb to the Korean overlords. In the other group, AlphaRed opened up against August on Mirage with an impressive pistol round on the CT side, but our cast from August opened things up for them on the second round, allowing them to secure the comeback, winning 3 rounds straight. Strong trigger discipline from my rolls allowed them to run down the clock as the CTs clinched another round by preventing the bomb plant. Tobu's insane flick on round 6 allowed the Ts to put another round under their belt with a quick A rush. The CTs won another round, but Silkenberg brought it back with an impressive 4K that eventually allowed them to secure 9 rounds. AlphaRed started to gain some momentum in the later rounds as they wrecked August, but it was too little too late as they only managed to secure 5 rounds on the CT side. Compensating for their poor CT side performance, AlphaRed flipped the switch on T side, coming close to evening out the scoreline before August slammed the brakes on the AlphaRed train, winning the match 16-9. The Group A winners match followed between Tyloo and Yalla, and it was a stomp. I mean, it wasn't even close. Tyloo were playing deathmatch on T side, while Yalla struggled to pick up even 1 round on the CT side. It wasn't until Yalla made the switch over to the T side were they able to pick up 1 round. And just when things started looking up for them, Tyloo hammered the final nail in the coffin right after Yalla won the pistol round. The disparity of skill between these two teams was extremely apparent. The Group B winners match between MVP PK and August, the first half was a constant back and forth affair. MVP PK dominated the first few gun rounds after winning the pistol rounds and then some. Eventually though, the Mongols got a read of the Korean playstyle. They managed to turn the tide and swung the momentum back in their favor after a sick ace by Aircast on August. A strategic timeout helped them figure out MVP PK as they finished strong with a 1-round lead, ending the half 8-7 in August's favor. The second half too saw August open up swinging as they won the first 4 rounds, getting a 12-7 lead. The Koreans showed signs of life though as they resurged on the T side, winning some crucial rounds due to some clutch plays in the big green gun. Eventually, the match ended in a 15-15 tie going to overtime. In overtime round 2, King from MVP pulled off an insane 1v3 clutch, giving MVP a 2-round lead. The roof caved in for August in the final round as they managed to win the match 19-16. Group C opened up with Demise vs Enzo on good old Dust 2. Demise showed up strong on the T side, opening with a 6-0 lead in the first half, slipping only a single round with a stomping 14-1 finish. Enzo tried to turn the tide after the switch, and they did manage to pull 3 rounds out of the hat. However, as soon as the guns came out on Demise, they shut down Enzo hard and won the match with a crushing 16-4 scoreline. Not a very good start for Enzo. Ground Zero vs Boot also started on the matchmaking favorite Dust 2. While Ground Zero got the first round, they were reminded of the absurd power the SG holds when Benkai used it to turn the tide to Boot's favor. Owing to the daring purchase and skillful play, Boot finished 11-14 on the T side of Dust 2. The confidence carried over to the second half as Boot furthered their lead by winning the first 2 rounds on the CT side, extending the score to 13-4. Ground Zero started gaining some momentum after the gun round as they managed to clinch 5 wins on the second half, winning the battle but eventually losing the war to Boot with a score of 16-9. Group D started off with Vici Gaming vs Revolution as Vici dominated Inferno on the T side. The Chinese powerhouse struck down on Revolution with righteous fury in the first half as they stomped them to the curb with a 14-1 scoreline on the terrorist side. Chibi Revolution tried to pick up the pace in the second half as they won the pistol round but was shut down by Vici Gaming in the next round. They went into the 18th round hoping for overtime but could only win 1 more before Vici Gaming finally shot them down. Entity vs Bren was the follow-up match in Group D on Train. While Entity did well in the first few rounds on the CT side, the boys in blue seemed to lose their balance in the quagmire. Bren managed to come back after ETG practically threw the 5th round by giving 1v1s over to Wits, who got Bren back in the game. ETG never seemed to recover from the blow as they lost round after round to Bren, finishing the first half with a disappointing 5-10 scoreline. They managed to get the bomb down after the switch over to T side on the pistol round but were unable to defend it. They did snag 1 round after 3 consecutive losses, but it wasn't enough to get them back in the groove, and Bren closed with an impressive 16-6 scoreline. Boot vs Demise occurred as the last match in Group C on the fabled Dust 2. Demise got off to a good start, winning the first 2 rounds, but eventually lost the momentum to Boot's SGs. They did snag 2 rounds in the middle, but Demise was able to pick up 9 rounds on the T side. Demise managed to stop the bleeding though, as they took 2 rounds and ended the half with a 9-6 scoreline working against them. Unfortunately, they were unable to carry this momentum into the second half as a perfect pistol play by Boot allowed them to secure a lead of 13 rounds. Demise showed signs of life as they got 4 rounds and brought it to a close 10-13, but that's as far as they would go. Boot didn't let them level the playing field as they finished the match with a 16-10 score. Bren vs VG would be the final match of the day with a showdown on Train. Vici started off strong on the T side, pummeling Bren into the ground. Some impressive individual plays by Bren's members allowed them to clinch a few rounds, but they were still miles away from rounding the odds in their favor. Vici Gaming always seemed to have a read on Bren as they got in their heads, ending the first half with a dominating 11-4 finish. Bren was able to rejuvenate their mental state as they got off to a hot start on the T side, taking 3 rounds off of VG. However, a failed B execute due to the clock running out got Bren's morale down again as they lost the next few rounds. Wits made a valiant attempt in round 22 to swing the pendulum back on their side but was unable to get the final kill and VG took the match. Overall, Day 1 saw the wheat being separated from the chaff as Tyloo, MVP PK, Boot, and Vici Gaming asserted their position on top of their groups. The bottom 2 teams from each group will be fighting for their lives on Day 2 to have a shot at battling it out on the main stage as they try and rise up to the occasion. Meanwhile, the second place team in each group will have another shot at making it to the main stage, going up against the winner of the losers final match. Thank you for watching this video. We genuinely appreciate your feedback, so please let us know in the comments below if you have any suggestions on how to improve our videos. If you'd like more such recaps, be sure to subscribe to our channel.